The cold wind bit through Ben's jacket as he crouched behind a broken-down fence, Kota growling low at his side. In the distance, shadows moved among the trees. "Stay close, boy," Ben whispered, gripping the shotgun tighter. Tonight wasn't the first time they'd been hunted, and he knew it wouldn't be the last. The sun had been setting over a quiet suburban neighborhood, casting a warm glow over the streets when Officer Ben Walker, now retired, received the call. He had walked toward the local animal shelter with hesitant steps, his mind racing with memories of his time on the police force and of Kota, his trusted German shepherd partner who had saved his life countless times. Ben hadn't seen Kota in over 2 years, not since the department retired the dog after an injury. The call had reignited his hope. Could this be him? Was his partner, his friend, alive and waiting? Inside the shelter, the air was thick with the scent of disinfectant and the muffled sounds of barking. Ben approached the receptionist, who greeted him with a polite smile. "Mr. Walker, I think we have someone you've been looking for," she said, leading him down a narrow corridor lined with cages. When they reached the last pin, Ben froze. There in the corner lay a large German shepherd with a coat of black and tan fur. His ears flicked at the sound of footsteps, but his body remained still. His eyes were distant and wary. "Kota," Ben whispered, his voice trembling. The dog turned his head but didn't move, his gaze devoid of recognition. "He doesn't remember me," Ben muttered, stepping back as a lump formed in his throat. The years, the trauma, the scars, they had all changed Kota in ways Ben could never have prepared for. As the staff member unlocked the cage, Ben's emotions swirled. Kota's once confident and alert demeanor had been replaced by a guarded, haunted posture. Scars dotted his muzzle, his fur was slightly matted, and he favored a hind leg, all signs of neglect and hardship. But Ben didn't care about that. This was his partner, his family. They would rebuild together, piece by piece. "He's been through a lot," the shelter worker said softly. "We found him abandoned at another facility. Whoever had him must have struggled to handle his anxiety. He doesn't trust people easily anymore." Ben crouched to Kota's level, extending a hand slowly. "Kota, it's me," he said, his voice trembling with emotion. The dog's amber eyes flicked toward him, searching for something familiar. For a fleeting moment, Ben thought he saw a spark of recognition, but it faded quickly. Kota turned his head away, a deep sadness in his posture. It felt like he was saying goodbye, even though he hadn't remembered yet. Later that evening, as Ben sat in his modest home, Kota resting in the corner, he couldn't shake an eerie feeling. When he stepped outside to retrieve the mail, he noticed an unmarked van parked near his driveway. It pulled away as soon as he glanced toward it, leaving him unsettled. Later, Kota growled at the faint sound of footsteps outside the house, though no one appeared when Ben checked. Something was lurking on the edges of their lives, and Ben had learned long ago never to ignore that feeling. Ben tried everything to reconnect with Kota. He brought out the old ball they'd played with during training, set up a cozy corner in his living room, and even played recordings of their old mission briefings, hoping the familiar sounds would jog Kota's memory. But each attempt seemed to meet a wall of silence and wariness. It felt like Kota was still a stranger, an animal that had been broken and then abandoned, no longer the loyal partner Ben had once known. But one night, as Ben prepared for bed, he left his door open. In the darkness, he heard the soft sound of paws on the hardwood floor. He stayed still, not wanting to scare Kota away. A warm nose brushed against his hand for just a moment before retreating. It was fleeting, but it was enough to reignite his hope. Maybe Kota was still in there, buried beneath the pain and trauma. Maybe there was a chance they could heal together. The turning point came during a walk in the woods behind Ben's house. Kota had led him to a small clearing with an abandoned shed. Inside, Ben found a battered notebook. The pages were filled with clinical notes, diagrams, and unsettling details about Kota, his physical attributes, training regimen, and even records of past injuries. At the bottom of one page, a name was scrawled, Collins. One entry stood out, K9 Unit, Project Ascend, Maximum Stress Training. Potential, extraordinary. The words chilled Ben to the bone. He now realized Kota had been part of something far darker than standard police training. This wasn't just a retired dog. This was an experiment, and someone wanted him back. That night, the motion sensors Ben had installed blared to life. The security camera showed a shadowy figure lingering at the edge of the property. When Ben stepped outside, Collins emerged from the tree line, his face partially hidden by a hood. "You think you can keep him from me?" Collins sneered. "He was mine before he was yours." Kota's growl rumbled low, his body tense as he stepped in front of Ben protectively. Ben placed a hand on his dog's back, feeling the weight of the moment. This wasn't just about protecting Kota. It was about reclaiming the trust and bond they once shared. Collins' voice dropped, laced with menace. "You don't understand what he's capable of." "I understand perfectly," Ben said coldly, the gravity of the situation settling in his bones. "I know exactly what Kota is capable of, and what you're capable of." Determined to uncover the truth, Ben contacted his old police colleague, Sarah Grayson. Together, they combed through the notebook and connected the dots. Collins had been a former K-9 handler, dishonorably discharged after his unethical experiments on police dogs came to light. He had pushed his animals to their limits, treating them as tools rather than living beings. Kota wasn't just any dog to him, Sarah explained, her tone grim. He sees Kota as his ultimate creation, the perfect K-9. If he's coming after you, it's because he thinks you're standing in the way of what he sees as his property. The revelations added urgency to their efforts. Ben installed additional security measures around his home, while Sarah used her resources to investigate Collins' current whereabouts. Meanwhile, Kota's behavior grew more alert. He would pace near the windows, his ears flicking at every sound from outside. Ben couldn't help but feel they were running out of time. The final confrontation came on a cold, moonlit night, as Collins and his men launched a full-scale assault on Ben's property. The motion sensors blared, cameras captured their movements, and Kota growled, ready to defend his home. Ben and Sarah, armed and prepared, stood their ground. The fight was intense. Collins' men attempted to breach the house, but Kota's sharp instincts and unwavering loyalty kept them at bay. At one critical moment, Kota leapt through shattered glass to take down an intruder. His bravery gave Ben and Sarah the edge they needed to repel the attackers. Finally, Collins faced Ben directly, his expression a mix of anger and desperation. "You don't deserve him," he spat. "Kota was meant for something greater." Ben tightened his grip on his shotgun. "You're wrong," he said firmly. "He's not yours. He's my partner." After a tense standoff, Collins retreated, but not before delivering a chilling promise. "This isn't over." The next morning, as sunlight bathed the property in warmth, Ben sat on the porch with Kota lying at his feet. Despite the chaos of the previous night, there was a newfound peace between them. Ben reached down, ruffling Kota's fur. "We've been through hell, buddy," he said softly, "but we're still standing." Sarah joined them, her coffee steaming in the cool morning air. "You know, Ben," she said, watching Kota chase a ball across the yard, "I think you've finally found your way back to each other." Ben nodded, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "Yeah, and I'll do whatever it takes to keep him safe." As the day wore on, Sarah and Ben worked together to review the footage from the attack. One particular recording showed Collins issuing instructions to his men, his face twisted in frustration as they retreated. "We'll need to anticipate his next move," Sarah warned. That night, Ben stayed up late, a revolver by his side and Kota lying near the doorway. Around 2 a.m., the sound of rustling in the woods broke the stillness. Kota stood instantly, his growl low and menacing. Ben grabbed his flashlight and headed outside cautiously. This time, however, the woods were empty, though Kota's unease lingered. Ben felt it too, the calm before the storm. The following week, Sarah uncovered more about Project Ascend. She revealed that Collins hadn't been working alone. A shadowy organization had funded his experiments. The group believed K-9 units could be weaponized beyond police work, creating near-perfect trackers and protectors. Kota was a prototype, Sarah said, her voice heavy. And now that he's back with you, they'll stop at nothing to get him. Thanks for watching.